Hello, my fellow kaiju fans. I'm Godzilla Gaiji, and welcome back to the Triple G cast. And today, ladies and gentlemen, is a very special occasion because we're not looking at a movie today. Oh no, we're looking at the first season of a show. Yeah, I know, exciting, right? Now, you've probably all read the title and know what this episode is going to be about, but first off I just want to say, I know that this episode is very late and that I should have made it like a week ago. I know that, and I actually was going to do that because I watched the show, or the first season of it, and then I wrote the script and everything and it was done, and I was gonna start making the video, and then I got sick. It was just a common cold, it was not COVID or anything, it wasn't anything serious, but it was still a cold, and because of that my voice was dying, and I wasn't feeling well, so I couldn't make this video. But now I'm feeling better, so yeah, now I can finally make this video, and my voice doesn't, completely suck anymore, so, I'm good. I still haven't fully recovered though, so if you think I sound a little bit funnier than I usually do, then you know the reason why I haven't fully recovered yet. But anyways, today you're looking at Godzilla Singular Point. Or well, the first season of it anyways. And now I've been actually pretty excited for this for the last couple of months, I'd say. Originally I wasn't super interested in it because the Godzilla trilogy had really left a bad taste in my mouth. So when I heard about another Godzilla anime I wasn't completely sure. But then I started seeing trailers and everything and my opinions changed and I was actually excited for it. But did it live up to that excitement? Well, that's what we're gonna find out today. But first, before I tell you what I thought of it personally, a little bit of information about the first season of Godzilla Singular Point. So, Godzilla Singular Point is a Netflix original anime that came out in 2021 and is directed by... Okay, a lot of people directed this. Let's see. Directed by Noriyuki Nomata, Takuma Suzuki, Daisuke Tsukushi, Tsuyoshi Tobeta, Satoshi Nakagawa, Suji Miyahara, Daisuke Chiba, Atsushi Takahashi, Geisei Morita, Son Seung-hui, and Nao Miyushi. And the cast includes Yume Miyamoto, Soya Ishige, and Wataru Takagi in the main roles. I definitely butchered at least one of those names. I am very sorry about that. So yeah, I'm really sorry. That's just a lot of names and a lot of pronunciations. I'm very sorry about that. Anyways, so the season itself is 13 episodes, and watching it will take you about 312 minutes. And now for a quick plot synopsis from Letterboxd. Face down a hopeless future. Brought together by a mysterious song, a grad student and an engineer lead the fight against an unimaginable force that may spell doom for the world. Alright, now that we've gotten that out of the way, let's talk about my personal feelings about the first season. I'm going to go over 5 bullet points, those of which being the story, the characters, the kaiju stuff, the animation, and finally, other things I want to talk about. Now I know I usually talk about music, or at least I did in the previous 2 episodes, but the thing is, those were both live action, and this is an animated thing. So for animated shows and stuff that I review, I want to focus on, the animation instead of music, because to me, the animation is a bit more important than the music, and I kind of want to have a whole bullet point to kind of talk about it. I'll probably talk about the music in the other stuff section, so I'll get to it. But anyways, let's start with the first one, that being the story. And if I'm being honest, I actually quite liked the story. I thought it was really engaging, and it kept me wanting more after I watched each episode. It was very good at ending off on cliffhangers, and, it really wanted me to watch the next episodes, which, worked out really well, because I watched the show very quickly. Now, there was also a lot of exciting mysteries in this season, I felt, that kind of, kept the show intriguing, because, you didn't really know what was going to happen next. And there was just so many things happening that it never felt boring. Like, that's one thing this first season did very well. It was never boring. At least most of the time. There was a couple of slow points, I guess, and maybe like 1 or 2 episodes weren't the most exciting. But for most time, I was really just entertained, so I have to give it to them. It was pretty well done. However, it's not perfect though, because in this season there is a lot of scientific exposition. Like, a lot. And unfortunately, a lot of it was very confusing and not really explained the best, I feel. I think I have to watch it like a second time, like the entire season. Maybe with like an English dub or something, just to kind of get my head around all this science mumbo jumbo. So that's, yeah, that's kind of a problem, I guess. But the thing is, even though I didn't understand a lot of the science stuff, I was still really engaged in the story. Like, the stories with all the different characters and the kaiju and all that stuff, I still really enjoyed it. So yeah, I might have been confused a lot of the time, and sometimes I might not even have known what was going on at all, but I did enjoy it. I think the story was really engaging. I liked the whole thing with like the singular points and stuff like that, even if I still don't fully understand it. And overall, I liked the story. I think it was engaging all the way throughout, and sure, it was a bit confusing, but to me, it was alright. Also, at first, another thing, I guess, kind of a nitpick, but not really. In the beginning, I thought there wasn't enough Godzilla because he doesn't show up until like, I think it's like episode 5 or something. I don't remember exactly, but he doesn't appear for the first couple of episodes except for like a skeleton in a basement. But he does show up a lot in the later episodes, and the whole plot does revolve around him, so that was okay. That was just a fear I had with the first couple of episodes, but once he did show up, I didn't have a problem with it. So yeah, overall, that wasn't a problem. Even though I really feared it was going to be a problem, luckily enough it wasn't. At least for me. Now, as for the characters, I would say most of the characters here were surprisingly memorable and charming. I enjoyed a lot of them and a lot of the interactions the characters had between each other. However, I will say, this movie does have a bit too many characters. Like, it just introduces so many side characters. And just, they aren't developed at all. Like, a lot of them are just very, very underdeveloped and not really three-dimensional at all. Like, most of them are just there just because. And, like, okay, that's fine. I mean, a lot of Godzilla movies do that, but here it just kind of felt a bit too much. I think they introduced a bit too many characters, and some characters that were really underdeveloped, like side characters, got a lot more screen time than I think they should have gotten. But like the main characters got a good amount of development, so I guess that's fine. And again, they are side characters, so I understand why they weren't developed the best. But this is actually something that I don't really think can really stay as a problem, because if they make a season 2, they can very easily fix this by just giving a lot more characters more development. So overall, I think for the first season, the characters that were good were really good, but there were a bit too many of them, in my opinion. Oh, and just to be nice here, for me, the standouts were Mei and Dr. Otaki. They were really great, and the AIs, they were also really great, like the computer people things, and Jet Jaguar, I guess. I don't remember the names, but they were really fun. I really enjoyed the interactions between those characters and the others. So yeah, overall the characters there, mostly memorable and charming ones, but a bit too many of them. But again, this could be very easily fixed in a second season, so yeah. Now, for the kaiju things. The stuff that most of us come to kaiju media to see anyways. And I personally really liked how they handled the kaiju in this series. Well, sort of. I really did like that they both had some popular kaiju and some less popular kaiju. Like, for example, they have Rodan and Godzilla, which, I mean, yeah, makes sense. They're pretty iconic. But then they also have ones like Manda, which I thought was really cool, because Manda is a kaiju that we don't really see a lot, and I thought it was really interesting, and it was definitely a more interesting choice than something like Ghidorah or Mechagodzilla. Which, don't get me wrong, I love Ghidorah and Mechagodzilla, but they're just a bit overdone, and I did like that they had a couple of less known kaiju here as well. Including Jet Jaguar. I know it's not a kaiju, but it was cool to see him again, because, I mean, Jet Jaguar is great. I mean, come on. Now, the designs here were also excellent. Particularly the designs for Anguirus, Manda, Jet Jaguar, and Godzilla were all great. My favorite one was probably Anguirus. I just really liked the color of yellow they gave to him, and it just looked really cool. Kinda sad he didn't do more than just showing up in a couple episodes and then just dying, but you know, anyways. Then there was also Jet Jaguar, which I have to mention here because Jet Jaguar takes up a lot of time in the show. It's kind of like the main, well, it's not a kaiju, but it's like the main giant thing that fights other giant things, you know? It was a terrible explanation, but anyways, it was really cool to see Jet Jaguar as like a protagonist in this one, and I really like how it sort of evolves throughout the season. Like, it starts out as this very short and kind of stupid looking robot, which has like way too big arms compared to its legs. But then it gets upgrades throughout the season, like for example wheels in one episode where it fights Anguirus. Then it gets a spear which has like a piece of Anguirus's spikes, I guess, on it, which was really awesome. And then in the final few episodes it gets a lot taller and it actually looks like Jet Jaguar from the original, which is really cool to see. I really like that. And then finally, of course, there was Godzilla, which I thought was a pretty good design. He was really intimidating, and whenever he showed up on screen, you always got the feeling that, okay, this guy's powerful, this guy's a threat. So even though I wish he was in it maybe a little bit more in the earlier episodes, whenever he showed up, he was awesome, so yeah. Then there were also some new kaiju. I think there were some crab or spider things. Which I don't know if we're supposed to be Scylla, no, not Scylla, sorry, Kumanga or not, but they were blue, so I don't really know, because Kumanga to me has always been yellow, so yeah, I don't know. Either way though, they were cool, I guess. Then there was also Rodan, which has one of the most unique designs in the series, and I actually kind of liked how they handled Rodan. Like, it really reminded me of Gaios from the Gamera Heisei Gamera trilogy, where it's like just a bunch of smaller ones that act as like a pack instead of just one kaiju, which I actually kind of liked, because I liked that in Gamera Guardian of the Universe, and it was cool here as well. So yeah. Also, the designs were pretty cool, making them look more realistic and sort of like they could actually fit into the real world, looking like actual dinosaurs. That was pretty cool. Then there was Salunga, the giant thing that looks like Gabra, the Gabra kaiju, that everyone thought was Gabra, but then isn't actually Gabra, but it's heavily inspired by Gabra. But it wasn't, so yeah, but Salunga, I guess, he was fine. He was just kind of there. But yeah, anyways. But now, the final thing I want to talk about in this section is I would have liked to see more fights with the kaiju. I would have liked to see longer ones as well. For example, the one with Anguirus fighting Jet Jaguar, that was great. That was really fun to watch, but I really wish there were more of those, because there really aren't. It's mostly just military trying and failing to take down kaiju, and them just kind of rampaging about. There are some good fight scenes here, and the ones that are fun, but there were not a lot of them were very memorable, and I also kind of wish they were a bit longer. Like, for example, the final battle between Jet Jaguar and Godzilla. Like, I got so excited for that. Like, when Jet Jaguar just becomes this huge thing and is just on the same level as Godzilla. That was so cool, and I was really expecting it to be like a big final showdown. But then it ends in under like a minute, and I was really disappointed. But overall, I really enjoyed the kaiju in this season, even if I do wish we would have gotten some more kaiju fights. But overall, I like them. The designs were great, and I think the ones they chose were interesting choices, and more unique than what we usually see. So, overall, I really enjoyed the kaiju in this one. Again, wish they would have fought more, but that's a minor nitpick. Now for the animation. And the animation here, I think, was pretty good. Now, I'm not very familiar with anime, so I don't know how good this is compared to others, but from what I've seen, or like from what I saw in the series, I thought the animation was good. Certainly better than the animation in the Goji trilogy, certainly. Or at least the character designs were better. Because overall I really liked how all the characters looked, I liked the backgrounds, the movements were good, and it's kind of what you expect from an anime. And then there's also some 3D models, primarily for the kaiju. And they were okay, but there were a few moments where they looked a bit odd and like just didn't look like they fit into the world. I guess it was done because it was cheaper to make 3D models instead of 2D animating them like they did with the humans. But sometimes, I think sometimes they're 2D animated. I don't know, I don't remember. I'm gonna have to watch the season again. But overall, the kaiju here, like the actual models for them were okay, and the show itself looked good, so I can't really complain much about it. It looked nice. It's nothing spectacular, but it looked nice, so I'm okay with it. And now, for my final bullet point, other things I want to talk about. Let's just quickly mention the music. I thought the music was pretty good here, both the original tracks and the ones they took from older films. I think it was really good. I can't really say much about the music here because none of it really blew me away, but it was pretty good, so I can't really complain about it either. So, overall, music was decent. And then I don't really have much else to really talk about here, except for the references. This show is clearly a love letter to the Godzilla franchise, and if you're a fan of Godzilla, you're gonna enjoy this a whole lot more than a regular viewer, because there are a lot of little Easter eggs to not just Godzilla's movies actually, but just the kaiju genre in general. Like, for example, you have all the references in the credits, obviously, like, I don't even remember how many there were. There were Mothra, I know you saw Mothra, Kuro, I think, then there was also Hedorah, which was really cool. And of course, those end credits are filled with all sorts of kaiju and Easter eggs. But then there are also the more subtle ones. Like, for example, I think on the character's cell phone, there was like Mugira from the original Mysterians as like the phone mascot or something. Or just one that popped up. And like, little details like that are really cool, and they make like people that have been fans of this franchise, you know, they reward them because you get to notice these little Easter eggs. So overall, that's really cool. So I really liked how this show kind of gave some fan service in there, and just these small little references. I really enjoyed it. But that's really all I have to say for the other stuff. So overall, I think you can go straight to the conclusion. So overall, the first season of Godzilla Singular Point, in my opinion, was great. Especially for the fans, like I said again. There are a lot of little Easter eggs that you can pick up here if you're a fan, and it really makes the experience just a little bit better. Now I probably have to rewatch it, possibly again with an English dub or something, just to understand the science stuff better, so I can kind of understand more parts of the story better. But again, the story was interesting, and kept me engaged even if I didn't understand what was happening a lot of the time, so that's not really a huge nitpick, but it is something that I'm going to have to probably take into consideration. And I'll definitely watch this show again, like, without question, at least this first season. So yeah, overall this was pretty great, and I mean, comparing this to the Anigoji trilogy, I mean, this is a masterpiece. It's like, that I guess that's not saying much, but I just wanted to mention it really quickly. But on its own, it's still a really good show, and overall, I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. Overall, screw the Anigoji trilogy. This right here, this is the true Godzilla anime, and I really hope that we get more seasons. Anyways, that was my Triple G cast video on Godzilla Singular Point. Again, sorry if it's a bit late, but I do hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, be sure to leave a like and a comment, it really does help out. And if you haven't already and you're enjoying my content, then be sure to subscribe and hit that bell for notifications whenever I upload. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.